Okay, I'm at 8028 Beech Avenue in Deer Park, Cincinnati, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, root intrusion, anything that would be concerning to the buyer. Our access location is a rear center stack in the basement, just inside the closet in the basement bathroom. It's a 3-inch Y. Make sure the camera lens is in there, and you'll see. There we go. There is the bathroom. So you can tell where we are. And here is the stack there in this closet. Now, based off the age of the home, this should be probably like cast iron under the floor, maybe clay on the outside, but we'll see how much of this has been replaced. It does look like there's a pretty large section there of PVC, probably installed for this bathroom, and it does switch over to clay into the floor, and in some cases in these neighborhoods it goes from clay under the house and then it switches to possibly concrete on the exterior, but it may stay clay the entire way out to the main. So clay is a good material. But because of these short, like 3-foot sections, and with all the connections they make, the biggest thing you find with clay is usually root intrusion. But there's no tree in the front yard of this house, so hopefully that's a good sign. And looks like we're coming up to a repair. You can see that is the clay attached to SDR, probably SDR 35. It looks a little thin, but this is being held in with a Fernco or a rubber coupling, so it's kind of hard to tell really if that is the whole entire thickness of the pipe. But at any rate, it is PVC. The other side of that repair, we're going to go back into clay. There's a little bit of bleed through on that one with the rubber or whatever. The rubber would probably look torn. Sure if this is on the other side of this might actually be on the other side of the street, the main anyway. And a little bit of mineral deposits there, nothing major. Some spider webs, and looks like we're getting ready to dive into the main here. There we go. And as it's turning, and it looks like we're turning and diving into the main at the flow line. Not at the flow line, but above the flow line. So it's just hard to get it to make that turn there. You can see the opening off to your right, that is actually the main, but it doesn't want to, my camera doesn't want to make that full turn. Obviously the water would, that's not an issue, but the line looked great. It did stay clay the whole way out, and so very happy with the condition of this pipe. It's probably, not quite 100 years old, but probably 80 or so. And so it's kind of hard to tell sometimes how old these homes are in these neighborhoods, but I want to say these are 1930s actually. So it would make sense with the clay being under the floor. Once they got into the 40s, they started using more cast iron under the floor. But yeah, overall the line looks great. We're going to run in some water, which you can probably hear in the background, just to kind of watch the line function as we pull back. And so we'll give it a minute to let that water travel that 80 foot or so, but it shouldn't take too long. There we go. Already showing up, which means the line's got pretty good pitch on it. Didn't take long for that to show up at all. So as we pull back, we'll continue to take a look at the line. Like I said, there's some spots like that where you have a little bit of like mineral deposits kind of bleeding through, but nothing of any concern. It's just really old sewer pipe. And that right there is where the pipe is turning. That's why it's got that exposed edge on it. And so you just got years of like a little buildup there. They didn't really use fittings. If they could get away with it, they would just kind of move one. They would move the. Ooh, there you go. That's weird. Looks like a little night crawler. It almost looks like a leech for a second. Huh. Very strange. Somehow somebody got in there and didn't know how to get out. So that's an interesting sight. You don't see much of that. See, like that area, you got a little bit of some bleed through the mineral deposits, but nothing of any concern. None of this is obstructing flow or, causing any need for any maintenance or repair. The line is functioning as designed. Good news is too that there's no, like I mentioned earlier, there's no trees in the front yard, so you shouldn't have to worry about roots in the future either, unless one of your neighbors on either side has something enormous that eventually gets big enough to send some roots this way. But as of right now, looks like everything's in great shape. Back underneath, a little jog around to the bathroom. And here we are at the cleanup. Vertical. Alright, so that's what we want to see at in about every house of this age. The line looked great. It was cast iron. Once it got through this bathroom, it was not cast iron, it was clay. From the end of this bathroom tie-in all the way out to the main, and it was all in really good shape. All the joints look good. They're all, there's not even any heavy lips or any sunken, any bellies or anything like that. The line looked great. It has great pitch on it, and so it's really nothing to report. We wish they were all in this good shape at this age. And so that's going to end the inspection at 8028 Beech Avenue in Deer Park, Cincinnati, Ohio.